I already explained, na? So classroom notes I will upload after the example completely is finished. Don't get panic, I will upload. Already I told you that let me finish the example, then I will upload the complete example. Yeah. So last session related and previous all only one project we are working. So once we finish the complete concept, I will upload the all folders so that you will get complete one. So tomorrow, yesterday's and previous, those two are related to only one example. Yesterday we discussed how to create database, how we can create API, how we can interact with the API from the client side. We learned how to handle the methods like get and post, right? These functionalities we learned completely. Okay, next, after knowing this, one more concept is there you need to understand while implementing routes, actually lazy routes, lazy loading of routes. Actually, lazy loading of routes is a very important concept. I told you that we can build application at multiple modules level. Generally, in the example currently we designed, all routes use eager loading. They use eager loading. Eager loading means what? Eager loading means the library required for components is loaded. For component is loaded even before the component is requested. Even before the component is requested, that component library is loaded. That is heavy on application, because in app routing module you return 10 routes. That means 10 components. All the components library is loaded. Why? You load only the library that is required for that particular situation. If user is selecting login, only login should be loaded. When user is selecting register, only register must be loaded. So we can design routes in such a way that they can load only what is necessary. So what is lazy loading? Lazy loading allows to load only the library that is required for current context. Actually, we don't need to manually do anything. By default, Angular uses this lazy loading for applications which are built at high level. When applications are built at high level, automatically lazy loading is implemented. If you are building applications at base level, then we have to manually implement. I will show you. Lazy loading of routes, how they happen is, suppose let's take a website like some HDFC bank website. In this bank website, actually they are having 5 modules: personal, NRI, SME, wholesale, agri. Every module have different screen, different environment. That means personal banking have its own register, its own login. So NRI banking have its own register, its own login. You go to NRI, it will open NRI home. This is NRI banking home. The complete screen have different content. The options provided here is different. When we build applications at high level, we will build module by module. For every purpose, we will have a module. Now, when I am using personal banking, generally your Angular application will load NRI, SME, wholesale, agri modules also. That means it is going to load. Currently, Angular application is going to load all modules, even when you are using only specific. You are using which module? Personal. Then why to load NRI, SME, wholesale and other? You have to load them only when they are requested. That means we should not load the modules until or unless user is using them. But in the current example, all modules are loaded even when you are using a simple component. For a simple component, all modules are not required, but they are loaded. What lazy loading helps? It helps you to load only the content that is necessary for that component. Let's see how it can achieve, how to build like this. Module based projects. Currently, our project is not module based. We will try to build module based project. Let's go in Visual Studio in our workspace. Let's add a workspace here. In the workspace, currently we are having only one project, shopping. We will add one more project here, but this time we will maintain modules. So multiple module system. Let's see. This is Angular projects. Yeah. In this, what we will do is, already currently our workspace is having one project, and that project is shopping. Let's add one more project here. In that project, we will try to implement the lazy loading concept. How? So let's add a project. Open terminal. Go to the workspace main folder. This is the workspace main folder. And here we have to create another project. To create another project, we have to run the command ng generate application. We know this. What is the application? Suppose I am giving HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank is the application. Okay. Now just hit enter. It will ask some questions like, do you want to use routing in this application? So in this application, we will not directly add components and services as we done before. What is the environment is, now generally I will show you. Now in this environment, what actually we are trying to implement is, for example, till now what you done, all components you kept in one folder, all pipes you kept in one folder, like that. Not like that. For example, you will have your project. In this project, you will have one module for suppose personal. Another, in this personal module, you will have components, you will have services, so you will have pipes, you will have guards, all these, and here you will have a separate routing module also. You will have a routing module, and this is for personal banking. Now you will manage another one. Suppose we have NRI. In this again, you will have separate components. You will have separate services. This is very good. This is how actually real world applications look like. And here you will have separate routing.module.ts. That's what I explained in the beginning. If you remembered of routing, I told you that can we have multiple routes in a project? We can have. And very important for your project, remember, for every module, there will be a separate app module. There will be a separate app module. All the library for that module will be maintained in again app module. And finally, we will have at the main level, you will have another app module, you will have routing.module.ts. That means you will build an application usually at this level. Like this, we build application in real time. So here you see I'm creating. Did you like to add Angular routing? Yes, we would like to add Angular routing. What CSS we want? Just CSS, and it is going to create a project for us. After creating project, we will not directly add components into this project now. We will add module system into this. That means for every module in project, we need a separate module system to maintain. That means personal banking. Suppose you are developing a shopping site. In a shopping site, customers module, products module, vendors module, like that we will separate. Shopping cart module. Every project comprises of multiple modules. And for every purpose, we will build a module. So let's see. Okay, this is done. Project is created. Now you see we have a new project here. One is shopping. All these days we were working with this. Now I created a new project called HDFC Bank. Now let's go to this HDFC Bank. It is having its own index file, app folder, everything it is having its own. Now in this, earlier what we have done in app folder, you can see there is a routing module. This is at high level. Now what we want to do is open this app folder in terminal. This is the HDFC Bank app folder. Here we need to generate not components. Earlier what we done, we directly created some components, services and all. Now not like that. We will make clean separation. We will design modules. How to generate that? ng generate module. ng generate module. You have to use the module and module name. ng generate module and module name. I will use module name as personal. Okay, next step. Do you want routing for this module? Yes. Then use -- route. That means we are adding routing for this module. After that, personal module. must be registered in our main app module. That means we have to use another flag called module, into which module it should register app.module. This is how we need to configure. That means it is going to create a separate module for you by name personal. In that module, it will add routing. After adding routing, this module will be added into app module. So every module need to be registered in app module. If you don't do that, manually you have to add. Already we done forms module, HTTP client module. Manually we have to go to imports, and there we have to import and use the module. Here we are just writing through command. Okay, let's hit enter. Now it is going to generate a module for you. You see, it generated so many things. So you can see personal routing module is generated. Personal module.ts is generated. That means I told you every module have its own app module, and component is there. Here you can add many components like personal login, personal register, personal some credit cards, personal bank statement, anything. This is one module. Like that we need another module. Let's create another module. Module name I will give NRI. NRI. And this NRI module must be registered in app module. NRI module must be registered in app module. Enter. Now this also generated for you. Like this you can add any number of modules. Interestingly, see now in the project you will see there are two folders now. One is NRI folder, another one personal. You remembered we created such folders. Netflix separate, shopping template separate. Now you observe here in NRI, again separate NRI routing, NRI module, NRI component related files. That means a separate library is maintained for this. Now what is the concept is, when user opens our website and he selects personal, only personal module library should load. When user selects NRI, only NRI library should load. It should not load both. That means Angular is intelligent enough to do this. So internally it implements lazy loading. Let's see whether it implemented lazy loading or not. It implements lazy loading. If it implemented lazy loading, how you can understand that it implemented lazy loading? Actually, what is eager loading? Generally, eager loading, what happened? Path. The path name you defined as some login, then component. So which component is loaded? The component is a login component. Something like this we define. But lazy loading is not like this. Lazy loading actually, it uses path. Path is login, but it will load this component. It will login. It will load the component only when it is requested. If above syntax, the login component is loaded into memory even when you are not requesting it. But in the second syntax, it should load only the component when it is requested. Then we use an option here, load children. Load children will use a callback function actually. By using this callback function, it is going to load, means what it will do is, actually just syntax I am giving. What it will do is, it is going to import and it is going to import and load the class. It is going to import and load the class. That is what it is going to do. Previously, it is importing before it loads. Now it will import that class only when it is requested. This is the technique. If anybody asked in interview how to implement lazy loading in routes, by using an attribute called load children. That's it. That's not a very big concept to deal with. By using load children, it implements. Automatically it is doing. Observe here. See now. Interestingly, you go to NRI. You go to NRI module.ts. In NRI module.ts, routing module.ts, you can see routes is there. Now you can observe, previously it was using for route. Now it is using for child. For route is used at root level. Root level is for route. Understood? At child level, it is using for child. For child means only for this module. Only for this module. But interestingly observe, routes, see the path. If user is not requesting anything, generally we are loading a component. Which component it is loading? NRI. This is eagerly loading. But observe the main routing module. Here observe interestingly. When personal is requested, then it is not directly loading the module. It is using load children. By using load children, it is importing the personal module, and then after successfully importing, it is loading that module. What then function will do? It will collect the module and it will return the module. That means what is the syntax here? The syntax is nothing but it is loading only when it is requested. It is loading only when it is requested. It is using import. It is importing this module. After importing, then it will load that module. That means when you requested personal, then only it will import. Previously what it is doing? Previously it is importing everything, even you haven't requested. That means automatically lazy loading is working here. If you want to manually write, you can write. Because it is automatically generated, we don't need to write. Suppose later if you manually add one module, for that you want to implement eager loading, then what you will do? You will not use load children. Directly you will mention the module name. But here, how we can implement that? You see here, see, means correct example. How do we do? The example we write like this: path. If user requests login, then what we do? We access load children, and the load children uses a function. This function will use an import. Import what? It will import .. some component / it will import login.component. It will import that login component. After that, it will use a then will collect the module. It will collect the component here. Here it is not module, it is component. And through the component, it will access which component? Login component. This is how it is going to load only the component which is requested by the client. You can implement lazy loading for components, or you can implement lazy loading for modules. Usually we manage for both components as well as for modules. So if components are need to be loaded immediately, even you don't request them, then as usual what you done earlier. If you want to implement lazy loading, this is the option, right? So now observe carefully. Now here we will see practically also. I will go to NRI component HTML. Here I will put a heading. This is NRI home. So here we have NRI banking services. That is what we are defining. Let's go to personal module. In the personal module, Here I define another heading. So personal home. And here we put some personal banking services for Indian users. Suppose like this I define. Now we need to go to what is the startup module for this project. This is a separate project. What is our project? HDFC Bank. What is the startup project? Startup project, usually it will be what? App component is the startup. That means I will go to app component. Here I will delete the code. Here I will put a simple heading. So this is, what is it? This is HDFC Bank. And I will just give a heading. I will put a horizontal line. And here we need to add two links. One for personal banking, another for NRI banking. That means we will use a link. What is this? So personal banking, okay. And another link, this is NRI banking. Now I will put this horizontal line after these links. And here we need to display router outlet. And when user clicks personal banking router link, it should access which one? Personal. You can see the path in the main routing. You will see here two paths are there. One path is personal. And what is the another path? Another path is NRI. Two paths are defined. So we will use that here. What is it? Personal. And this router link, what it is? NRI. And now here I will start up with this project now. Let's start the project. I'm just using ng-serve. Project is equal to this time HDFC Bank. Because we have two projects now in the same workspace, HDFC Bank. So it is starting the project. By default, project starts with app component. And we will see how the modules are loaded into memory, how the modules are loaded. We can see that. And to do that, right. It is successful. Once it is successful, let's run this and see. I will open this localhost 4200. These are two options available. Let's keep some space between these two links. I will put a pipe symbol, just a separator, okay. Now we have two options, personal banking, NRI banking. Let's go to inspect. In the inspect, you have to go to network category. Go to network category. In the network category, it will show you what it is currently loading into your page. So in the network category, once refresh. After opening network category, once refresh, you will see it is loading so many files now. It is loading all these files. Already these files are present in our project in the form of TS. They are actually converted into JS because TypeScript is not understandable to browser. But here, what interestingly you will find is there is no script for personal banking or NRI banking related module is not there. The scripts are not there. Observe carefully now. How many requests are there? 9. And currently in those requests, there is no option for personal or NRI. But observe carefully, when I click NRI banking, then the module will be loaded. And you can see that here NRI related module is extra loaded now. Now one request extra. What is that request? That is for NRI module. Personal module not loaded. But personal module is available. It is not loaded until you request it. Now if you request, that means you are requesting both. That means you click on personal banking. Then you can see now number of requests are 11. Personal banking also loaded. That means now this module is added only when you request it. That means you opened a website and you are, and output already there. Personal home, NRI home, you can see. Now actually in NRI home again routing can be there. Like what is that routing? NRI login, NRI register. Again, how you design the parent route, you have to design the child routes. That means we need to add the components and we need to implement the child routes inside. I will show point, but important here is a module is not loaded until or unless it is not requested. This mechanism is lazy loading. A project will have lot of modules, but it will never load all those modules. It will load only the modules which currently user is using. So that is lazy loading. In our previous approach, every module is loaded. Every class is loaded. Every component is loaded. That is not good for application. Hundreds of components you cannot load even if user is not using. Right? This concept is actually earlier in the beginning I told you, if you remembered, Angular features I told you. So we have legacy library. We have modular library. Every technology is doing this now. Even if you belong to Java, .NET, various technologies, earlier Java, .NET, PHP, Python, all these people were using legacy library. Now recently they are changing their library to modular. That means only the library that is needed for that situation will be loaded. All technologies, huge technologies, they were using legacy only. Now they are transforming their library into modular. That means now every technology puts this new feature into that. They say that our library is also modular. That means it will load only what is necessary for that. This is actually the concept of lazy loading. That means lazy loading of routes, how it will lazily load the routes. Actually, you see now, suppose in this HDFC Bank, in this app, I will go to NRI here. In NRI, again, you can add components. These are components, am I right? In the components, you can generate components. I will open in integrated terminal, ng generate component. This is NRI login, suppose. NRI login, I am using skip test. I am using this. That means there is an NRI login, there is an NRI register, like this NRI register. Now, how do we create route for this? You observe NRI routing module is there separately. In this NRI routing module, already routes are defined here. Let's put in a new line. You see empty route is there. Now you know what to do. Here you need to define another path. What is the path? If the path is login, then which component to deliver? Which component to deliver? So we have NRI login component to deliver. We can add in this way. So how do we define in NRI component HTML? Here we will put a simple div and an anchor. So login. Now when user clicks that login, so below this, that login screen should open. Then here we will put another outlet. And for this link, what we will do, we will add a router link. Router link is what? Login. Now this is individual route for NRI. That means you see NRI home and I click login, that login works. This is NRI login working. In nested, you can go any level. At higher level, the projects are designed like this. They are designed like this. I said NRI banking, in that login, it will open NRI login. So in real world projects, complete environment will be in the same way. And you see only NRI related module is loaded. Login or anything. So until or unless you select personal, it is not loaded. It is not like it is loaded and after that it is deleted if you are not using. Once you selected, that means you loaded. Until or unless you go to some another module, refresh the page, these modules are not removed because they will consider that you are still using them. Because you requested, you are still using them. So this is the concept of lazy loading, right? So to implement that lazy loading, so what is the example we tried? So that example I will give. First point, add a new application into project, into workspace. How we do that? So ng generate application and application HDFC Bank. So that is next step. Here what we have to do is open HDFC Bank SRC in that which folder? App. Here what we have to do, we need to run ng generate module and the module name is personal and route and personal will register itself in the module called app.module. That is how we need to create. Another module ng generate module in that NRI route and NRI, the module must be in app.module. Now we have to just go to app routing dot module routing app routing right, app routing dot module dot ts in app folder, root level folder. In that folder already route is defined. I will just copy that for you. Yeah, I will just copy that for you. Entire file I will copy just for your understanding sake. That means how the lazy route is configured here. Now what we need to do is we need to create a path for this. So we need to go to app.component.html. In app component HTML, I need to design this. That is how we have to create. This entire example I will upload, but this is the basic process, how we are going to access and use them. So in order to view whether only that module is loading or not, you can inspect, you can go to network, there you can verify which library is being loaded, right? This is lazy loading. This is how the lazy loading works. This is lazy loading of routes. Not only lazy loading of routes, we can even load lazily the contents in a component also. The contents in a component. For example, one question is asked in interviews like, the question is, suppose in a database, there are 1 million records. That means in a database, there are 1 million records. 1 million records are present in a table, database table. I need to show these 1 million records on the screen. Now, accessing all the 1 million records and displaying on screen is a risky job, and it is not recommended also. Now, how you will load? Actually, we will put pagination 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paginations. Now, what happens in the first page? It is showing 1 to suppose 100. It is showing 1 to 100. Now, the 100 records are currently displayed and hundreds of pages are there. Observe carefully here. Let's go into the design of Google. Yeah. Here we will search for HTML. Some results came. How many results came? Millions of results came. Is it showing all these million results? Scroll down. It is the first page it is showing, and at the bottom it is having so many pages. Now tell me, in the background, is this second page loaded? It is showing 10 pages. Is the second page results ready? No, they are not ready. They will be ready only when you click. Only when you click, then the next set results will come from the database and load. That means it is not loading all the records in the background. Then how it is having page numbers? Because it is just getting the count and updating the page numbers. How many length is there it can get, but it is not getting the records. Those records will be fetched only when you click the second one. This is also lazy loading. That means the next 10 records will load only when you go to next page. This is lazy loading. For example, if I go to image search, you see images. In image search, millions of images are there, but all are not loaded. Per screen, it is loading only some 100 images. You scroll down. When you scroll down, then next set will load. If you don't scroll down, it will not load next. This is good. We can implement this kind of mechanism in Angular. For that, Angular have a separate library, and Angular calls that library as Angular have a separate library, and Angular calls it as Angular material. Angular material is an separate library. Actually, it is a library. It is a library for Angular application. Angular application. What it will do is it provides components. It provides components and CDK. Components and CDK. CDK is component development kit. Component development kit. Development kit. By using Angular material, it is same like Bootstrap. Already we have Bootstrap. In Bootstrap, you have a lot of components like cards, like buttons, like nav bars. Angular is also having same. Then what is difference? What is difference is nothing but Angular material is built for Angular. So it will work better than jQuery for Angular. But for a software developer, all what we need for UI development are not provided by this Angular material. Then we have to depend on Bootstrap, third parties. That means you can't depend on only Angular material. Angular material is same like Bootstrap. Only the difference is it is built by Angular team for Angular. So it is more compatible for Angular, but it doesn't have every solution. That means everything you need is not there in Angular. Suppose I want to design a carousel. Angular material don't have a carousel. Carousel means sliding banners. It doesn't have. Then how? You will simply say that it is not possible in Angular to design carousel. but every website needs a carousel. Then we have to use a combination of Bootstrap. People who are good in Bootstrap, they can simply easily use this material. Material is a third party, but it is built by Angular team only. You can use this library for developing good interface. And it's not necessary that every company will use this material. As I already told you, several companies will be using third-party materials. Third-party materials like Telerik I showed you. Telerik is a third party. You can see Modern UI made easy. Modern UI made easy. Now in this you can see, I will go to demos. In the demos, you can see they provide some components. You can see Angular demos. I will go to Angular demos. When I go to Angular demos, you can see grids, charts, drop downs, PDF exports. So many hundreds of components are provided. And these are not free. You have to purchase and use them. They are not free. You have to buy them. Telerik is very popular. For example, you can see these are the customers of Telerik. NASA is customer of Telerik. Microsoft is customer of Telerik. NASA is customer of Telerik means NASA is taking support of Telerik. Microsoft is taking support of Telerik. Then you can imagine the abilities of Telerik. Right? That means they are providing support for those people. So these kind of third parties are used. Suppose you are a web developer. Some companies will ask that we need experienced people with knowledge in Telerik because our project is completely working on Telerik. And very rarely experienced people will have knowledge on Telerik because in every project they don't use Telerik. But they can simply handle. Why? Because if they know any third party, they can handle any another third party. Right? Just they need to explore by themselves. They have to see what options they provided and they have to implement. I will show you one example how it works. Actually, Angular material is Angular material. This is Angular material library. This is the Angular material library. This is material. And it provides components and CDK. Let's go to the components. You can see these are all components. Badges, buttons. You see a lot of components, buttons, cards. Already we used cards now. Already we used cards by using Bootstrap. But Angular also have cards. Angular cards looks better little bit when compared to the Bootstrap cards. But Angular don't have every solution that Bootstrap is having. So we need hybrid approach. Half Bootstrap, half Angular material. Of course, you have to do that. You have to do that. You can't do everything by using Angular. Right? Now this is a third-party library. You can use this library and you can implement in your project. So we can use both Bootstrap as well as material. How to use material, I will show you. One simple example I will show. Rest of others you need to practice by yourself. I will show you how to learn. You have to practice by yourself because nobody teaches these components. Right? Because we are not guaranteed that projects will use them. And even you learn this, you may not use this same everywhere. That's the reason. And components are hundreds in number. They are hundreds in number. And you can just learn about these components easily if you know good Bootstrap. I will show you simple approach how it works, right? First, now the concept here is, I told you that here CDK is there. CDK is nothing but not only components, the behavior for components also provided. How the component should behave. You can, what is the advantage of using CDK? You can improve the performance of application. What is component library? Component library is designing good interface. What is CDK library? Giving good performance. Right? Angular application needs good UI and good performance. Performance you can get by using CDK. And design you can get by using components. Material provides both of them, the CDK and the components. Actually, CDK means, I will tell you. So you learned about how to display some data. Which one we used actually? We learned an iterator called ngFor. We used ngFor. Do you know what ngFor is doing? LET item of collection. Do you know what it is doing? It is reading all the elements in the collection. 1 million elements are there. It is reading all 1 million. But now you have CDK ngFor. CDK ngFor. What this CDK ngFor will do, same item of collection, but what it is going to do is, it is going to measure the viewport size. Viewport size means screen size. How much the screen height is. For that height, how many elements will fit? It will load only them. That's great. That's super. And if you ask this to do by a developer by himself, he will come after 10 days with that result. And you can implement in just 1-2 minutes. You ask the same logic to a developer that do this with manual approach, coding, and come. And he will sit, he will do lot of research. After 4 or 5 days, finally he will achieve that output. If he is new to technology. Right? That means a lot of work need to be done to handle this, and they have ready-made solution for this. They just provided ready-made performance. That means what is difference between ngFor and CDK ngFor? CDK ngFor performs better than ngFor. That means what is ngFor? It is lazy loading. This is eager loading. And what is CDK ngFor? It is lazy loading. It is lazy loading. That's loading. Lazy loading is not only for routes. It is for even every concept in a component also. We'll see one simple point here. How to use this library now. If you want to use this library in a project, so I will go to the project. Let's stop this terminal. Let's stop this. Yeah. We will go to our previous project. That is shopping. In the shopping project, let's open it in integrated terminal. And here we need to add Angular material. And here a lot of compatibility problems will come. Very careful. Because the problem is Angular material is not simultaneously developing along with Angular. So Angular version will be different, material version will be different. Compatibility issues will come. So this is big headache for us first. Why? Because material version is different and Angular version is different, and some old versions don't support new version of material. A lot of problems are there. That's the reason we completely don't depend on this, but it is good to use them. So let's see how. First, how to add Angular material. Remember, version to version changes will be there. You see, get started, they given one process here. So you have to just use ng add Angular material. For example, but here it is a little bit different. Why? Because you see now, I'm adding ng add @Angular/material. For which project? It is not added for workspace. It is added for a project. Every project material is separate. And for which project we have to write project -- project is equal to what it is? Shop. We are adding for shopping project. So this is adding the material for your project. So now you can see it is generating, it is verifying compatibility, and you see Angular material version 7 it is installing. The version 7 it is installing. Currently Angular version is 15. Our version is 14. Right? And material version is different. And remember, some versions are not compatible. That's the reason it checked the compatibility first. Otherwise, it will show error immediately. It will say that this version of Angular is not suitable for the latest version of material. Then you have to download the suitable version like @6, @4, @5, like that. That is one biggest headache you will face in real world projects. You don't face that problem because already environment is set up. Right? In real world projects, you are not the person who is going to configure project. You are the person who is going to just work in a project. Configuration headaches and all your seniors will take care. Experienced people will take care. You will never do all these things. You learn so many things related to configuration. You will not do all these things. How to set up CSS, how to set up Bootstrap. These all not your work. They are already set. You have to just write the code. That is not your job in real world projects. Because you are learning, you learnt all of them. But in real world projects, in a project, you will not configure CSS. You will not configure Bootstrap. You will not install anything. You will just use it. You should not install anything also. Because what is needed to install, they already installed. Just you need to work. You need to just design a component. That is what you have to do actually. So would you like to proceed? Yes, I would like to proceed. It is installing. Now some questions it will ask. The questions like it says that Angular material requires a special module called browser animations. Without browser animations, this Angular material cannot work. It will ask, do you want to add browser animations? If you select no, then Angular material will work, but animations will not work. Without animations, some effects are present, you can use them, but it is always important. It is saying some problem. Not supported. So the version is not supported, or any issue in installing. Let's check the version. It is the current version is 15. This is latest. 14 version is okay. 14.2.7. Okay, now it is fine. Now see the first question. We are installing only the not latest version, whatever compatible for us, because our project is currently 14, but material is having 15. Previously tried to install some 7. right? That is not compatible. So error came. We selected 14.2.7 because that is the stable version available in their official website. Okay. Now it is asking which CSS theme you want. That means they give ready-made CSS color themes. You can select any theme. Later, if you want, you can change. I will select indigo pink. Okay. And it is asking, do you want to add Angular material typography styles? These are typography actually. That is nothing but typography, nothing but fonts. Angular uses special fonts like Bootstrap. It is asking, do you want to install those fonts? Yes. Okay. It says, do you want to include animations? Animations compulsory, otherwise certain functions will not work properly. So include and enable animations. Okay. Now we are installing the Angular material here. Successfully installed, they added for your project. Once Angular material is successfully installed, you can use this material library in your project now. But here, as I told you, we have two concepts. One is CDK, another one material. Material means component material is buttons, text boxes. Their appearance little bit different from what you see in Bootstrap. Let's see the difference first. We can use components and CDK. I will show you the concept here. First, go to app module. App module.ts. You see browser animation module, as I told you. This is compulsory. If this module is not added, certain functionalities will not work. Browser animations module is compulsory. Okay. That is added already for us. Now let's add one component here. I will generate a component, ng generate component material demo. Okay. Skip test. I am adding a component called material demo. Okay. In this, you see, we have a material demo added. Let's keep in the startup. In the startup, material demo component. Let's run this. Ng serve project is equal to shopping. And let's go to the material demo component and let's see the difference in material demo component HTML. I will add here a div. Let's see first one small implementation here. CDK virtual scrolling. So lazy loading. I will implement this and show you. Now you see here, let's open the localhost and material demo is working. Some problem came. Index we haven't changed. Right, let's go to index.html. In index.html, this is app material demo. Okay. App material demo. Okay. It's working fine. Okay. Now I am using combination here because Bootstrap is also working now. Container fluid. Okay. First, I will show you this point, how it works. Actually, we need to display some data. You can see here. Let's go to app module. In the app module, we have to import. So CDK virtual scroll. What is its library name? We will see first. Actually, in the components, go to CDK. You can see here a lot of components are there. Where is virtual scroll? Somewhere. The scrolling will be there. This is scrolling, huh? Yeah. And see the library it requires. The library it requires scrolling module. You need to import scrolling module from where? CDK scrolling. So here we have to import that. That is the because remember this library will be changing version by version. Several new things will be adding. Library will be changing. New components are adding. You need to exactly look for the components library in the API and you have to import the same. Okay. Okay. Let's import here. What is that? CDK virtual scrolling. That means first we need to import Abona. Here we will import. So import. So scrolling module from what is that at the net? Angular CDK. In Angular CDK, what is it? Is scrolling. From Angular CDK scrolling, we imported that scrolling module. And you know that you have to use that scrolling module here. Scrolling module is here, right? And now after doing this, let's go to material component here. We will go to this material demo component TS file. Here we will fetch the data coming from fake store or somebody. That means we will get the data here. Already we have a service private. What is it? API. It is of what? API data service. And we will have products. Products is an any type of array. It is initially empty. On initialization, what should happen? This dot API dot get products dot subscribe. So we need to collect the data and this dot products is equal to whatever the data. All the data is loaded. Now these products details we need to present in the component. And observe carefully here what I am doing is I am using CDK virtual scroll viewport. This is not ordinary div. It is CDK virtual scroll viewport. Right here we are using. And actually this virtual scroll viewport, so we can keep here item size. How many items it can show. Suppose I give an item size 100. But remember, you give an item size 100, but it will load according to height and width. But maximum how many it can load at a time? 100. Right? Then I will put style. In the style, I will give height. Height as 200 pixel, 300 pixel I am giving. And width as some 300 pixel we are using. Width as 300 pixel we are using. What next? We will keep border also. Border as 2 pixel solid. So some black. That is the appearance we given for that. CDK virtual scroll. And you can see that is the CDK virtual scroll here. In this, I want to load pictures. Just like Google have loaded the pictures. So I want to load the pictures. Then we will put an ordered list, unordered list. In that we will keep class as list unstyled, yeah, unstyled. And here we are adding, what is it? List item. This list item should repeat. Then we used earlier ng for, but now we are not using ng for. Here what we are using is, we are using, so CDK virtual for. CDK virtual for. So LET item of item of collection. What is the collection? Products. For every item, we will create an image. Image will have an SRC. It will come from item.image. For every image, we will give width as suppose 100% and the height as suppose 150. Like this, I defined image. All the images are loaded into this now. That means you can see the images, right? But interesting point you will find here is, so width I will give 50%. Okay, just so that you can see the scroll bar will come. Observe interestingly here is, let's go. You know Fake Store, how many products it is having? You know Fake Store, how many products it is having now? 20. It is having 20 products. Jewelry, shop, all type of category, 20 products are there. You observe carefully here, div. In the div virtual scroll, okay. In that open this virtual scroll div, in that unordered list, see how many items generated. See how many list items generated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5. And see the interesting part here. Only 5 generated. And see the interesting part here is, let's scroll down. When I'm scrolling down, you see next few more items added. Have you observed? That means the items are loaded only when you are scrolling down. This is lazy loading. This is lazy loading. And I am scrolling down and it will add items more. But see, previous items gone. Only these two are updated. You can observe. Depending on scrolling, you scroll fast, you see lot of content will upload. That means on screen it is showing only what it fits. Above contents are gone. Above contents are gone. Again you scroll up, then again above contents will be loading. This is very good. This is great. This is what we need, a good performance on application. So this is what Angular provides. Like that, Angular have hundreds of performance related options. Now who will teach you all these 100? Right? You need to spend 1 year with me now for just learning Angular. Right? That is why you need to know few things and you need to now explore all others. You have to visit this website. You need to see the components that you need for your project and you will get a simple help here. You go to examples. It will show you how it is going to work. You can open the source. You can see the code, what they use. You can implement that code. They will give you TS code, what to do. They will give you CSS code, what to do. They will give you HTML code, what to do. And this you need to implement in your example. That means a developer is an incomplete developer if he can't explore such concepts by himself. Because not possible. Nobody can deliver you everything of these third parties. Anywhere. On YouTube also you will not find any help on this. On YouTube also anybody will explain you 1 or 2 components. That's it. Right? You search for all components of Angular. It's not possible. It's waste of time because by the time he makes the video, 1 more new component will come. And the existing component may change. These are not the things somebody trains and you learns. These you need to explore. Because I showed you one, you can try others. But this is related to performance. This is related to performance. We have related to UI also. UI related what we are having components. What is advantage of these components is instead of Bootstrap, you try them, they look better. Why? Because you might have seen, you remembered we created some Netflix like screen. But when we created Netflix like screen, we are not satisfied with the output because the input group of Netflix is different. Bootstrap input group is different. It will give a rounded button, Bootstrap, but here it is a square button. That means you will get the functionality almost 95% of the same look, but you will not get exact look because their components are different. Their style is different, but functionality is same. That means you see the registration forms and others of Google, you will not see in a Bootstrap way because they have their own material. They have their own material. They will use them. They have different styles. They will use them. That is their trademark styles. That means they use, that means many times people tell you, I want like an Instagram form. That means that is their trademark. They have their own styles for that. They will implement that. So now we need to understand one more concept is how to implement the material components also, like buttons, text boxes, how to implement. That one example I will show. That we will see in our next session. Right? Our next session will be on Saturday. Okay. On Saturday, we will see material and we will discuss about another concept called NGRX, means state management, how to handle state management. And we will have a concept called deployment. Deployment means how to publish our projects live, testing, deployment, how it happens. These topics we will discuss in the next session. Right? Saturday we will continue with that. Okay. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, no session. I will upload this complete project now. Give me 1 hour, 2 hours time. I will upload this entire project example. Then on Saturday, we will discuss NGRX and deployment, how it works. Okay. We'll continue on Saturday, right? Same time, Saturday. Okay. Right.